Thanksgiving was always a big deal for the Johnson family. Every year, their sprawling farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania became the heart of their family's traditions, hosting over a dozen relatives for turkey, pie, and laughter. This year was no different, or so it seemed. The day started with a crisp chill in the air and a clear blue sky. Uncle Roger showed up with his booming laugh and a bottle of whiskey. Kids ran around the yard, playing tag, while the adults busied themselves in the kitchen. But amidst the warmth and chatter, something felt off. It began subtly. Clara, the youngest daughter, claimed to have seen a man standing in the cornfield behind the house while she was playing outside. She described him as tall, wearing old-fashioned clothes, and staring directly at the house. When her father, Mark, went to check, there was no one there. Just the swaying stalks of dried corn. "Imagination," Mark said, brushing it off. But Clara refused to play outside again. Inside, things grew stranger. The oven timer would reset on its own. The family's heirloom turkey carving knife, which always hung on a hook above the counter, disappeared. They found it hours later stuck upright in the wooden table in the dining room. "I was playing a joke," Aunt Marie asked nervously. No one admitted to it, but unease settled over the group like a heavy fog. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the family gathered in the dining room, the table heaped with steaming dishes. The kids were unusually quiet, and even the adults spoke in hushed tones. Just as Mark raised his glass to give the Thanksgiving toast, the chandelier flickered. The light dimmed until the room was bathed in a faint, hot, flickering glow. Then they heard it, a faint, scraping sound, like fingernails dragging across wood, coming from the direction of the kitchen. Everyone froze. "Probably a raccoon or something," Uncle Roger said, trying to sound brave. He grabbed a flashlight and walked into the kitchen. The family sat in tense silence, listening to his footsteps fade into the other room. A moment later, there was a loud crash and a scream. They rushed to the kitchen to find Roger sprawled on the floor, pale and trembling. The flashlight lay rolling on the floor, its beam illuminating the wall. The family fled the house, cramming into their cars and driving to the nearest motel. Later, when the sheriff investigated, the house was empty, but the message on the wall remained. The Johnsons never returned to the farmhouse. They sold it within weeks, telling themselves it was just their imagination, a shared delusion brought on by the stress of the holiday. But the new owners, a young couple, didn't last long either. On their first Thanksgiving in the house, they left halfway through the night, leaving all their belongings behind. The house has been abandoned ever since, sitting in silence, waiting for its next Thanksgiving feast.